just say it.
You want to make a difference, and you want to make a difference together. Working together, getting things done, can be fun. We long for that experience. You can be effective and open in a way that respects everyone in your group. You want your group to make decisions fast, to hear everyone's voice, and to enjoy success. Sociocracy came from the Netherlands and has spread all over Europe, the US, and the world. It is an established, tried and tested governance system ready for you to use. Some people prefer to call it dynamic governance. Let's look at how decisions are made in sociocracy. An issue will come to a working group.
So I was contacted because there was an issue with...
The group will create a full picture of what is going on. They will follow a process to come to a proposal that takes everybody into account. In sociocracy, we want all voices to be heard. One tool to do that is to talk in rounds. Rounds make it easy for people to speak, and since you know you will be heard, rounds also make it easier to listen. We want to make good decisions and have all voices and concerns get equal consideration.
Okay, I think we covered everything.
Yeah, and I think this should work for everyone too.
Decisions are made by consent. We ask, is this proposal good enough to try out? Does anyone object to the proposal? Not everyone gets their personal preference. We figure out a way to improve our proposal until it is good enough and everyone can consent to it. The whole group takes responsibility for the objections and seeks to address the underlying concerns.
So let's see if we've dealt with all objection and do a consent vote.
I consent.
No objection.
No objection.
I consent.
Consent.
No more objections.
I don't have any objections, so it looks like we have consent.
In sociocracy, we call the working groups circles. Each circle has an aim, a shared purpose. Circles make decisions about responsibilities that are in their domain. The people who actually do the work together decide together. They know best what needs to happen. They do the work. They see what works and what doesn't. Let them make the decisions. How do we make a whole from the parts? In sociocracy, we do this through linking. Every circle has a leader and a delegate. The leaders and delegates of the department-level circles together form the general circle. Information can now flow back and forth through the entire organization. The leader typically lets the circle know the overall operational plan and what needs to be done. The delegate makes sure the department circle's experience is heard in the general circle. We call this the double link. Subcircles are also double linked. That way, we get maximal transparency and efficiency throughout the whole organization. When decisions are put into practice, it is often thought as a one-way street. However, in order to get closer to our goals, we have to make sure we measure the outcome of our decisions in order to find out if what we're doing is actually working. We can only get better if we listen to what needs improvement and what is working well.
When we decided this, we totally forgot to take into account.
The circle may decide to revise their policies and practices, or the circle might decide to extend the feedback process by involving other circles, like their mother circle or a helping circle, to get more input on how to make a decision that is within the range of tolerance of everyone who is affected. We can continually adapt to our changing world. We don't get stuck.
Everybody can have their voice in this.
And we will always work something out that everyone can consent to.
More people can participate deeply.
Our circle structure helps us to be effective
And fully transparent in our organization as a whole.
Not everything will be perfect right away.
But if we keep experimenting, our organization as a whole will get better all the time.
If you're inspired to introduce sociocracy in your organization, we can help.
Okay, we are back. So,
Welcome
Moran, are you
to
there?
Sustainable Sundays.
We are here this week with a special guest, Pierre Houben, who's coming to talk to us about sociocracy. This is so exciting. Thank you so much. We've been looking forward to this day for a long time. And I dare say more than just weeks or months, I think it's lifetimes. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us more? Thank you.
Okay, so hi, my name is Pierre Houben. I live in Italy. I'm not so Italian, but I live here since I was 2 years old, and I come from Belgium. And mostly in my life, now I'm doing the trainer, consultant, and facilitator using sociocracy, based on sociocracy in Italy. And most of my lifetime I work in theater, like as a theater technician, and that's where I developed my interest for how we make decisions and how we organize together. The late years, I was working in theater. I was like, okay, what's happening? I mean, why we are not enjoying our work? Why are those dynamics between us, this power dynamics? At the same time, I met transition town movements that introduced me to facilitation and a lot of incredible methods or techniques to co-create and co-develop project. And at a certain moment, I was like, okay, we're doing this great thing, like using open space, dragon dreaming, work cafe. So everything is collaborative. Okay. But when we were there taking decision, we were using naturally, because this is what we thought was the only decision-making approach, was like majority minority rules, what is used in democracy. But then I started to see that it was creating tension. I mean, a strange dynamic. So we were all together to that point, and then we had to decide. And if it was very bad, it was going very bad. It was like Brexit, no? And you see, everybody see what happened after Brexit. 51% said yes, 49% said no. I mean, I think it's mad. I think in such an important decision, when you have your country cut in half, more or less, but it's half. I mean, you should stop and reflect. But okay, that's another that's another thing. So seeing this, I said, okay, this is not working anymore. Okay, and so I asked myself, can there be another possibility, another way to take decision, to approach decision making? And then I discovered that after a few times, sociocracy, that is not only a decision making method, but it's also an organizational design made by circles and area of responsibilities. And then you have also the learning by doing, let's say, learning by experimenting with decisions. So we have a lot of use of feedback. Okay, so that's how I came to sociocracy.
Great.
Fascinating.
So it's a fun. Yes, we experienced one talk of Pierre at the Climate Social Forum. I was like remain amazed, and I tell you a bit little story also, because we are here in this Sustainable Sunday that also a little bit confident and so on. Yes, I called Pierre like the day before, the evening before. I asked Pierre, do you want to make a talk about sociocracy? He said, yes, why not? And it was one of the best to talk. And also, not only, he decided to map the process of Climate Social Forum through the concept of sociocracy, and was amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah. And regarding this, I want to make a trick to Pierre. Now I show a photo, an image that also Pierre has shared with us. And maybe, Pierre, if I show this image, you can explain a little bit better what you say that during your speech about the sociocracy structure and how it works and so on. So I'll share the screen for one moment. Yes, these circles, lots of circles. How does it work?
Okay. So I said there there are three main principles that are equivalence, transparency, and being efficient. Okay, and then there are three characteristics that you can see. One is the use of consent, like decision making approach. Another one is the use of feedback, or the search for feedback to learn and to inform decision making. And the other one is circles. So what happens is, like, when you let's think when you start a new project, and you are very few people, and you do everything all together. You decide everything all together, okay? And it's a wonderful moment. I wouldn't touch anything there. I will not change anything there, and it's full of energy. When the project grows, then more people comes, and the project becomes more complex. Not only because of the more people, but because also you have more things to do. So it's like they start to have these meetings that are very crowded. You talk about a lot of things, and perhaps there are a lot of things that some things that people don't have the competency or are not interested in taking decision to. So what happened? Normally we keep it like this. I mean, the organization then would like to be flat, really flat. They want to take decision on everything. But in Sociocracy, we prefer to create area of responsibilities. And so these circles, you can see there is a general circle, the gray, the lighter, no, not the lighter gray, but it is in the center, the smaller one. Yes, that one. That is like the coordination point. At the beginning, that's what you have, like when you are a few people, then there are a general circle coordinating all the activities you are doing. Then when you grow and it gets bigger, perhaps you can take, like, it's like a cake, you cut a piece of the cake. You say, okay, this is area of responsibility is, to make it simple, administration. So everything that have to do with the money. So let's say get funding or paying or anything, fundraising. So let's give a circle. So this piece of cake is all about it. And who wants to be part of it, who have the competency, please go and populate that circle. And there, in this area of responsibility, you are autonomous. So you can take decisions by your own. How you organize your work, how you do the things. Then you can have other area of responsibility, responsibilities. So like other cake slice, like the one very common is communication, marketing. And so you divide your work and you keep the general circle like a linking point, a coordination point for all the organization. In the general circle, you have a couple of people for every circle or slice of cake, and that what kind of decision making they have. They take some decisions that are for all the organization. So let's say for the budget, how do we divide the budget between the circles? So every representative of the circle speak in this year. I make an example. This year we would like to do this, this, and that. So we would like to have this. Another circle will say, okay, this year we are okay set up. I mean, we have everything, so we will need less than the last year. So we can have less, and we'll be. And you do the math, and you divide the things. What happens in this way? Like, and you use consent, like for the make. What happened in this? What is happening that we, as an organization, the representative of the circle, are finding a way, thanks to consent decision making, that everybody can support this. So we attune, like in music, we attune the organization in the general circle, and so in the circle they do the work, and in the same way, I mean, there is decision making to take about how we work together, so how we organize together. And we use the same consent principle, and then we decide how to work together, how to give us roles. So who will be the facilitators, who will have certain kind of accountabilities. Always trying to create areas of autonomy. So not everybody has to take every decision, but it's very clear who takes which kind of decision. The area of responsibility are like map of all the things that the circle is doing. Another little piece to close is like every circle have a name. So technically is like a product or service they are producing. So a service can be, and the product can be something for outside of the organization or inside of the organization. Think about the administration. It can have the both sides. So pay the rent of if you rent something, pay for this, pay for that, or you can work for the like crowdfunding. So you are getting money for, it's a service you do for other organization, and so on. So marketing is mostly outside, perhaps, or and so on.
Thank you, Pierre. I have one question, but I think also Sol want to have something.
It's fascinating, and I want to dive deeper. So either before or after Domenico's question, I'd love an example that we can play with, just to start to wrap our heads around what that would look like.
An example of, give me an hint.
For example, you started with like, we have a project we're doing together, and there's different types of projects. The beginning part is simpler because everyone's excited and wants to work together. But as soon as we become more official and kind of everyone finds their place and we need to work as an organization, then I would like to take an example. I mean, I heard two things. One is crowdfunding and one is, let's say, I don't know, a production or some goal we want to reach. So if we take even a crowdfunding example, and we just say, we want to raise money for, let's say, the Amazon is my favorite example. And we want to have, I don't know, representatives come to, no, we want to raise money for oxygen there, okay? Medical supplies. Is that one example we can use for an example?
Yeah.
Crowdfunding?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So we have the general circle, and if you can take us from there. An example.
The general circle, I think, will work on the idea of will set the foundation for the crowdfunding. So let's say just a step back. So every organization in Sociocracy have a vision. So something, vision of the world, how it will be when the organization has accomplished its aim. Okay. Then it has a mission. So the mission is like, I like to call it like the vehicle you use to do that. I mean, to make it happen. So
excellent.
Let's say you want to end the poverty in the world. You can do it in many different ways. So the mission is the way you decide to use. Then you have the aims. So you have the product and services you want to produce, to realize, to make this all make this happen. So it's very concrete. So let's say the vision is the why you are doing it. Okay. The mission is how you're doing it, and then finally the aims are, okay, what are we doing concretely? So let's say the general circle, so the organization is aligned to this, so they are looking for, they decide in the general circle to do a crowdfunding. So that's perhaps where the decision is born, but it can be also another part of the organization that this idea come from. But why do we want to work it in the general circle? Because we have representative of all the circles. So all together, they can put the foundation of how we're going to organize to do it. So you will have like the people for administration that will collaborate to do this decision. The people for marketing, I think these are the two biggest important circles that will work on this. And other circles, so I don't know what could be the other one. I mean, activist, I don't know. So you have a circle of activists that can help and support the work of other circles. So they work all together and they say, okay, we're gonna do this crowdfunding. And then we set like a guideline for this, a general guideline. Then the couple of representatives of each circle will go to their circle and they say, okay, in general circle, we have worked on this. And this is the decision. There will be a fast check with the circle. If the decision in the general circle has been taken, it's okay. There is no objection. I mean, there is something, an objection or a way to refine the decision. And then they will work on now in their domain, in their area of responsibility, they will organize to do, like in the administration, how we will work on this crowdfunding. In the communication circle, how we will communicate it, and so on. And this then, okay, now I described like this is a map of the decision-making area of responsibilities. Then an organization is much more. I mean, people from the administration communication meet also outside of the circle. Let's say the circle is like really the mapping of decision-making. So when we have a meeting as a circle. And then there is all the other life and operational life also of the organization. Does this answer your question, or you need more?
No, that's excellent. Carry on. That's great.
Yeah, no, I want to make a comment that some hints that the speech of Pierre reminds to my mind. First of all, about music. I will say like this, I'm music and I like to play the drums. And when you told about the fact that each part has some kind of independence and it reminds me also this kind of the music, no? I will tell the story in drum playing. The very goal also when you are like training and so on is to coordinate all the, I don't know, legs, arms, and so on. But each one of that is independent in a way and had to be like not too much linked to the other. But finally, they have to coordinate to each one. And yeah, it reminds me like the way he describes sociocracy. But more than this, this kind of structure, it reminds me also the cell. The life, how the life and the cell are spreading also during also evolution and so on. And also this circular shape more reminds the way on how nature is fostering. That I can say, yeah, another hint about my life. I study engineer, so very squared things. And once, for example, we studied the project management or enterprise organization and so on. And what I can say is that that kind of mindset is very like squared, but also in a pyramid. That's something that you have to put the hands on. So it's something like take the reality and put the hands on from top to bottom. Here, I can see that is more natural. And I think, and this is like the question and also the hints that I give to the discussion, that this kind of organization is become more evolutionary. So it fits, I think, the new generation of organization and also more in relation and in harmony with nature and so on. What do you think about?
Yes, I think so. There are two things there. Yes, what I will say, I would add to this is that this kind of organization is really adaptive. What happened that the organization can grow and can shrink at needs. So you see there is a general circle and three main circles. So and these are operational circles. And then the one on the top and one on the right that like look like a bit like Mickey Mouse for me when I see them. They have this shape, these big ears. They have what the ears are subcircles. So it's like having, let's go back to communication. If there is a big work in communication in a circle, perhaps you can have some subcircles that are more specific. A general circle is very general in its aim and domains, but an operational circle is more defined. And when you go to subcircle, they are even more defined. So let's say communication have a big work like they have a website that give a lot of work, or they have social like Facebook, Twitter, any kind that also has a big work. So they cut the slice in two in this case. And so they have two slices that goes then in where our responsibility is well defined, the aims and well defined, and so on. So, and this you can grow it or you can shrink it at the need. What we say in Sociocracy that don't leave a circle unattended or without that is not operational. Don't leave it there. Just close it, and when you need it, have it back. You can create also I will say temporary circle. So if you have a specific challenge, you can create a circle connected to another, and it work to, perhaps you will not have a name in this case, because a name is something that you renew. You will have an objective. So when you reach the objective, the circle will close and you will not have it. And so I think this is one thing that resemble a bit also nature. No, I think about trees. And another thing I think very similar to nature, and I use it like analogy, is like the decision making. And what happens when, let's go back to the let's say to the marketing, to the communication part of this crowdfunding. So they decide that one of the guidelines is like how we communicate this, which word we are using and which channel we are using to communicate this. And so they set a date for review. So it's like you take this decision and then you also decide when you will review it. The review is about, it's a question about, are we reaching what is our aim? I mean, we decided that for this date we had at least 1,000 people giving, or we wanted to reach this amount of money. So when you reach that date, you say, okay, are we reaching this? Do we need to change our guideline? Do we need to change our way of operating? And I see this also in trees. If you observe trees, what they are doing, like when they start, there's a very nice time lapse about the seed that becomes a tree on YouTube, and you see it put down some roots, and then it put a branch and some leaf, and what he's doing is checking, like, it's doing an experiment, and the decision are a bit the same, and all the life of the tree is like this, just more roots and more branches, more leaf, and so on. There is a nice thing that I've seen in Ferrara as I was living in, but also now I live in Torino. I found it in Torino too. And it's a group of trees. If you look from far, and I took some picture of it, but I don't know where they are, so I will show you. But if you look from far, they look like one tree. It has the shape of the tree, and it looks one very big. When you go closer, you see that it's 5 trees, and they all grow looking for light. So the one on the side are really going on occupying one part of this, one side, so a quarter of a side, a quarter, and then the center one is the highest one because you have to find the light up there, and it's amazing. And so what they have done is like they grow on one side. If one tree of this will fall, they will the trees on that are closer to him will adapt and will grow also on this side and will take the light and the sun, and so the sun, the water, and the rain, and so on. So it's when I when I see an organization of sociocratic organization, when I see when she operates, I see a bit the same thing. This kind of research about experimenting, about getting feedback. So the trees is there, like, okay, do I found enough minerals in the soil? Do I have enough water from the soil and from the sky? Do I have light, and so on? And they develop the same tree, the same category of tree. They develop in very different way depending where they are and what they have their surrounding.
Yeah, amazing. I very like this metaphor about the tree. Thank you very much. I will copy you, you know.
Do it.
But okay.
Me too.
Now, Moran, if you want to ask something, that today there is a special Sustainable Sunday. We have also some guests, and maybe we can also give the chance to some questions if they have. But first of all, the floor to Moran.
No. Let's hear our guests first. I'm good.
Okay. So I invite the guest of the talk today to, if they have some question, they want to take some question to Pierre. Just open the mic and take it. Okay.
Anyone?
Shy.
No, don't be shy. Don't be shy. This is like, as I say, the very warm and welcoming environment. So don't be shy. But in the meanwhile, I appreciate another thing on the Pierre's talk. Now, I saw Elizabeth that wants to add something, maybe.
Yes. So what kind of business organization? I understand this sociocracy can fit in different kinds of organizations. I'm wondering if you've found that one type of business organization works better with sociocracy than another, in terms of a nonprofit or a co-op or so on.
Okay, thank you. Sociocracy is being developed in the 70s by a Dutch engineer in the Netherlands, and in a business. It's like there were, and still there are 600 people working for this business. They're producing I would say, all the electric part and movement in the boats, in big boats. Okay, electromechanics, I think it's called. And so it's born from there, but after the 70s, it has developed a lot. In the Netherlands, there is also a law that if you use in the national law that if you use sociocracy, you don't need representative from the syndicate. I mean, okay, so you can do without, because all voices are heard. Just to tell the impact it has had in the Netherlands, and it needed more time to go out of the Netherlands. That's other reason that we will talk about now. But what I see that now it has a widespread. I mean, every kind of organization can benefit in different ways. What I see that the cooperative, in some way, are the best place where sociocracy can work. But it is very intriguing also to see on the other part. So let's say a business, they are very, very concrete, very economic, very focused on efficiency and on the economical part. In some way, they're missing something that bring them more, like have a vision. Okay, so they need to fly a little bit more. And it's very intriguing to work with them because they are very, they appreciate the fact that sociocracy is very, in some way, fast in the fact that when you take a decision with a consent, you have all people that consent to it, and you can work more efficiently with it. On the other side, let's say there are the intentional groups or intentional communities that fly very high values and so on, but I see what they need is something to bring these values down to earth, so to actualize them, let's say. And in this, sociocracy can help them a lot. I will not say to make them successful because of sociocracy, because I don't think any kind of method can do it, but it can help a lot if the project is good and can have something to have more to be perhaps a bit more faster, or to have more impact in the world. And that's very intriguing to work on this other side. Let's say if you want to consider there are different side, opposite side, for this reason. So to give the opportunity to intentional communities. There are a lot of quasi in the US that are using it to be more efficient, to have more impact in what they are doing. You can find a lot of on this side of the spectrum, let's say, you can find a lot of examples in a website that is called sociocracyforall.org.
Yes, there is also here in the image the link to the website. Yeah, and thank you that you relieve me that also engineer can do nice things.
Yes.
Of course. What would we do without engineers, please?
Okay. So yeah, we have space, I think, for one more question. I don't know if some other from the audience, and eventually, Moran, if you see something also from Facebook, we can address to Pierre.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that also I want to add that I very appreciate this fact of the feedbacks that are very important. That means that the structure is living, so it receives inputs, energy, and ideas from the environment, and it helps to be adaptive, as you described better before, Pierre.
Yes, that's one of the things that also I like, and perhaps it's also we have to do with nature. Never thought about it, but like sociocracy organization, if you see the circle, it's like to have more possibility to get feedback from the environment around where the organization is in. So, because when the different circle can sense what is happening, they sense how the decision they took and how the operation are going. There are many, I mean, attention on this, like having like the body, you know, it have sense with the nervous on all over the body. I mean, our part of our body is sensitive. Like unlike like in a normal organization, like this, like really a body. As if you think like in a body, it's only the head that is working. Okay, and that's also intriguing for me also to think an organization like a body. So if you see the chief, I mean, in Italian, I don't think it works in English, but in Italian, the chief is the head. So way to say head, and that's it. I mean, there the decisions are taken, there the analyses are made, and so on. And what I see, and that mostly decisions are taken through the numbers. That is okay. I mean, I don't see that is dysfunctional. But what is dysfunctional, not functional, is that there's not only the numbers that we need. We need also to include other parts if we want to really sense what we are doing, what is happening in the world. And that's for me a very important part of the reason of why we are in this situation. So because if you if I think about a circle, it's like asking to everybody what are they to contribute with their experience, with their qualities, with their competencies. Okay, decision is taken, and you ask to participate with your personal competency more than personal preferences. And in some way, we have forgot all, or we don't hear any kind of feedback from the environment where we live. The real. I mean, I'm thinking about the real environment. I mean, from the waters, from the trees, from the plant, from the skies, and so on. So I think one of the big challenges that we have is to include this part. It can be through the numbers. It can be also other way. I mean, how can we have this part sitting with us and taking the decision? And how can we understand their feedback? Or first, do we want to hear their feedback? That's the most because it would be hard at the beginning, I think, for a lot of people to hear their feedback. I think, well, this is my personal thinking about it, that we don't want to hear that feedback because it will be too hard. So we also have to take in account that this thing, okay, that some people will be very hard. So,
okay, I think that we are reached the end of this Sustainable Sunday. Maybe Moran, if you want to say something on closure. In the meanwhile, I'm searching also the website of Sociocracy for All that I will screen share for a bit, so you can also get contact and so on. So Moran, the floor is to you.
Thank you. I would like to just reflect on what you pointed out with the body as a metaphor. I know it's the last thing you ended with is kind of like, for some people this might be difficult, but I think that we definitely have a lot to learn. Number one, we got meditate. Number two, the more comfortable we become with the fact that
We can hear you so well. If you can like near the microphone, because it's very like noisy. In the meanwhile, I'll share screen the website. Maybe if you want to spend a few words, Pierre, for the website.
okay. This yes, you can find yes. I invite you to navigate through the website, and there is the Start Here menu just in the center. Yes, then if you start from there, you can see a lot of you can refine your search. So we will ask you. This is the video we just you have seen at the beginning, and then you can refine your searches from your interest. I mean, from you in an intentional community, which kind of community, if you are co-housing, if you are an intentional group, and so on, and you will find a lot of things. There's also simple opportunities of free opportunity of training, that a small introduction that you can take by yourself. And now Sociocracy for All is born in the US 5 years ago. I was there just from the beginning by chance, or perhaps chance doesn't exist, like I say, like in Kung Fu Panda, like in Kung Fu Panda they say. But we are developing also a lot of international group SOFAs, let's say. So if you go down, you will see there are some languages. So the Spanish language is very, very strong. So you will find a lot of the website that has been translated in Spanish. And then there is Hebrew, that is the Hebrew language that is starting. There's France, I know they're organizing. In Italia, we are reorganizing Sofa Italia, and so on. So be prepared to see. I think we have the feeling that this year we will see this a bit exploding. You see it there at the bottom, the languages that are currently available, or you can find resources in these languages. So we have the feeling that this year is really will be an explosion of it, and we are really happy. We were joking at the beginning. It was like our vision was a bit our playful vision was like we would like that in some years people that want to do something together. One of the first things that will ask themselves is, do we want to use Sociocracy or there is something better? So
I think that there is the best question to start, and also in a scientific way, because finally you run properly in the same I don't know, peer-to-peer, also demanding way that it's using science and all the evolutionary mindset. So really, also this kind of thing can give you a hint about how sociocracy is adaptive, I can say. Yeah. Okay. So let's close these Sustainable Sundays. So first of all, I invite you all to share the video also on your page, on your profile, and so on. Also to get to know about this way of organization that can be very, very helpful in these times in which we have to be adaptive and resilient. I invite you also to put a small like to both the page of B1 and HubZIne, and most of all, we will put also this video on our YouTube channels, both on B and HubZIne. You can find there these small, we can say Sustainable Sunday, but also webinar, because we learn a lot of things on our YouTube channel that I invite you to subscribe to receive notification for the new videos. So thank you very much, Pierre, for your time and for your knowledge. And thank you, Sol, for co-hosting with me this Sustainable Sunday. Sol, the floor to you.
Well, I would like to say that was a great intro to sociocracy, and it leaves me with the taste for more. So I think that's how it should be, but at the same time, I think we should do more and dive in more. I love the biomimicry you've used to describe the sociocracy in the first place, but I really look forward to many more questions and much more time. And for anyone who's watching, if you have more questions about sociocracy, we will put a link under this video after this post is done. Pierre, you can tell us where you'd like us to send people who are curious about this, and I would suggest and like to invite you to another one if we can coordinate another call so that we can expand deeper and give people more of an opportunity to inquire and ask you more about it. Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Thank you for joining today. And thank you for everyone who's watching Sustainable Sundays. It's good to be here.
Bye.
Good to have you here with us, Pierre. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. 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 Bye.